She posted, finally dating above my tax bracket, while not wearing the ring I bought, and sitting with a man twice her age. I commented, congrats. Then froze the wedding account, emailed 140 guests, and let silence do the rest. My name's Ethan, 35. Until last year, I was engaged to Rachel, 31. She worked in marketing at a mid-sized tech startup. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for one. I thought we were solid, not fairy tale perfect, but balanced. We had plans, a small wedding next summer, a joint savings account labeled wedding and house fund. I even built us a spreadsheet that tracked everything: deposits, venue holds, vendor payments. That was my love language, structure. Hers, apparently, was validation. Rachel lived half her life online. She didn't have millions of followers, but her posts had a consistent theme: soft luxury, independent woman, manifesting abundance. I used to laugh at it. She'd roll her eyes and say, "It's part of my brand, babe. You know, aspirational." I didn't realize how literal that word, aspirational, would become. The first sign something was off came 3 months before everything fell apart. She started being distant. Not cold, just distracted. Late nights at team dinners. Unreturned texts during work trips. That vague smile when she said, "I'm just tired." Then, one night, she asked casually, "Hey, do you think we should keep finances separate after we get married? Just, to stay independent." At the time, it didn't hit me as strange. But now, looking back, that was the first brick being laid for her exit strategy. 2 weeks later, she flew to Chicago for a marketing summit. I was supposed to join her for the weekend, but she said her schedule was packed. We FaceTimed once, briefly. She looked perfect, hair done, glowing makeup, hotel lighting just right. I told her I missed her. She smiled and said, "Don't get soft on me, Mr. Spreadsheet." That was the last real conversation we had. 3 days later, I was at work when my coworker Mark, who also followed her, sent me a message. "Hey, man, this is probably nothing, but you seen her latest post?" I clicked the link. It was a photo of Rachel, dressed elegantly, sitting beside a man in his late 40s, wearing a designer suit. The caption, "Finally dating above my tax bracket, clinking glasses, gemstone sparkles." She wasn't wearing the ring, and she'd posted it publicly. I didn't feel rage, just that sudden quiet shock where every sound fades. It was like being punched underwater. At first, I thought maybe, this was some brand stunt. But then I checked the comments. Her friends were congratulating her. And the man in the picture? I found him easily. His name was Derek, VP at a corporate consulting firm, divorced, 49, and her company's new client. And that was that. I didn't message her, didn't call, didn't post anything. I just commented publicly, "Congrats." Then I closed the app, and I got to work. See, that wedding and house fund account we'd set up? It was under both our names, and I'd been the one managing it. That day, I froze it. Not withdrew, froze. So every pending payment, florist, venue, catering, got flagged. Then I sat down and drafted one email. Subject line, "Change of plans, the Parker Lewis wedding." I explained that due to unforeseen circumstances, the event was canceled indefinitely. I apologized for any inconvenience, attached copies of refund policies, and included proof of cancellation notices. I hit send to 140 recipients: family, friends, vendors, colleagues. And then I shut my laptop. At 2 a.m., my phone started buzzing nonstop. Texts from friends, calls from her bridesmaids, even her mother. Apparently, Rachel hadn't told anyone. Her friends were blindsided. Her boss, who'd been attending the wedding, found out from that same email chain. By morning, everything she'd built, her image, her job, her brand, started to collapse. Because Derek, the man in her photo, he wasn't amused either. Why the next morning, my phone looked like a disaster zone. 36 missed calls, dozens of texts, half of them from people who'd been on that email thread, half from Rachel. I didn't open a single one. I just made coffee, opened my laptop, and watched as the online part of the story began to unfold. Quietly, predictably, and with the precision of gravity doing its work. Someone had screenshotted her "finally dating above my tax bracket" post before she deleted it. It was circulating on Reddit by 9 a.m. Reposted with threads titled "Influencer cheats on fiancé with client, brags about it." By noon, Her company's LinkedIn page had quietly removed her from their team section. Apparently, the client, Derek, had seen it, too. Turns out his company was still under contract with hers, which meant her relationship with him violated multiple conflict of interest clauses. By 3 p.m., she was no longer with the company. I didn't call her, didn't message, didn't post. I didn't have to. Because when someone builds their entire life around image, the worst thing that can happen isn't exposure. It's silence. No defense, no narrative, no one left to believe their story. Around 5 p.m., Rachel finally showed up at my place. I heard the knock. Sharp, rapid, desperate. I let her stand there for a full minute before opening the door. She looked awful. Mascara smeared, hair messy, holding her phone like a lifeline. "Ethan, please, we need to talk." "About what?" I asked. "You humiliated me. Everyone's attacking me. My job's gone. Derek." "Derek what?" "He ended it. He said I made him look stupid. He blocked me. Do you have any idea what I'm going through?" "You mean after you publicly dumped me for him?" She went silent. It wasn't. I didn't mean it like that. It was supposed to be a joke, a marketing thing. I was drunk. "Rachel," I said quietly, "you posted a photo with another man while still wearing my Ring account password in your Notes app." Her eyes went wide. I gestured to the open laptop behind me. "You never logged out." For a second, she looked like she might collapse. Then the anger came back. "You had no right to freeze that account. Those are my deposits too." "You're right," I said, "which is why I've already initiated a split, 50-50, as per the records. You'll get your share within 10 business days. I don't want the money. I want control." I interrupted. She flinched. "You built your whole life around other people's approval," I said. "You mistook attention for value. And now that it's gone, you don't know who you are." She started crying. Real tears this time, not performative ones. "I just wanted to be enough," she whispered. "You could have been," I said, "if you weren't so busy trying to look like it." She left quietly after that. No screaming, no scene. Just silence and the faint click of the elevator doors. I stood there for a while, staring at the empty hallway, and realized that was the real ending. Not the Instagram post, not the email, not the job loss, just that sound of the door closing. After 4 years of me ignoring every warning sign because I thought love meant patience, it actually means self-respect. Over the next week, I heard through mutual friends that Rachel had gone offline completely, deleted her accounts, moved in with her sister. No one really knew what she was doing, which, for someone who once documented her breakfast, was the strangest twist imaginable. A month later, I got a certified letter from her lawyer. A simple acknowledgement that all funds had been divided properly and she wouldn't contest the cancellation of the venue contracts. At the bottom, in her handwriting, one line: "I'm sorry I turned us into content." I folded it, put it in a folder labeled Documents, and left it at that. I never told anyone the full story, not my coworkers, not my parents, not even my therapist. Because the truth is, it doesn't matter how right you were. Once you start narrating the pain for applause, you become exactly what broke you. So I chose quiet. And in that quiet, I built something resembling peace. Now it's been almost a year. The wedding deposit refunds finally came through. I donated my half to an animal shelter Rachel used to volunteer at, not for irony, but because she did genuinely love those animals before she started chasing optics. It felt balanced. Sometimes, people tell me I handled it perfectly. I didn't. I just handled it completely. There's a difference. Because closure isn't when they say sorry. It's when you stop wanting them to. Update 1. Almost a year later, life had found its rhythm again. I'd switched jobs, joined a new company that valued calm efficiency over constant culture building, and stopped checking notifications before bed. Somewhere along the line, I stopped thinking about Rachel entirely. Or at least, I thought I had. Then, last month, my boss asked me to represent the company at a business ethics panel. Transparency in modern marketing. Irony, right? I agreed. The event was held at a mid-range hotel ballroom in Portland. Name tags, cold coffee, the hum of polite networking. I was reviewing my notes backstage when I heard a voice that felt familiar. Not the tone, that had changed, but the cadence. I looked up. Rachel. She was standing 10 feet away, talking quietly with another panelist. Her hair was shorter, the color toned down, the posture humbler somehow. She looked normal. And on her name tag, Rachel Carter, ethics consultant, ardent marketing group. It took me a second to realize she'd gone back to her maiden name. She noticed me at almost the same moment. For a beat, neither of us said anything. Then she smiled. Small, nervous, genuine. Hi, Ethan. Hi. Didn't expect to see you here. Yeah, me neither. We stood there, awkward but calm, like two people bumping into an old version of themselves. How have you been? She asked. Good. Quiet. That sounds nice. It is. She nodded slowly. You look happy. So do you. And she did. Not performatively happy, not glowing for a camera, just quietly okay. The panel started. There were 5 of us. She went second, I went last. Her presentation was titled Rebuilding Trust After Public Failure. I almost laughed at the accuracy, not mockingly, just in disbelief at how honest she'd become. She talked about authenticity, the cost of oversharing, and how our need for validation can destroy real connection. She didn't mention her past directly, but it was in every word. I found myself respecting it. When it was my turn, I opened with something I hadn't planned. A colleague of mine once said, authenticity doesn't need to announce itself. I didn't understand it back then. I do now. And as I said it, I looked at her. She met my eyes and nodded, almost imperceptibly. For the first time since everything happened, I felt no resentment, no tension. Just gratitude that the story had finally stopped taking up space in my head. After the panel, people mingled. She approached me, holding a cup of lukewarm coffee. That quote, she said quietly, was that about me? It was about both of us, I said. She smiled. Fair. Then she hesitated. I wanted to thank you. Not for what happened, God, no, but for how you handled it. You didn't destroy me. I did that myself. And I think if you had reacted like everyone else would have, I wouldn't have learned anything. I shrugged lightly. You don't need to thank me. You did the work. She nodded again, looking down. Then she said something I didn't expect. You know, I thought losing everything was punishment. But it was freedom. For the first time, I'm not performing for anyone. I wake up, I go to work, and no one cares what my breakfast looks like. It's weirdly peaceful. Yeah, I said. Peace is underrated. We both laughed softly, not at each other, but at how simple it sounded. When we said goodbye, it was short, clean, final in a way words couldn't make official. Take care, Ethan. You too, Rachel. She walked away, her silhouette blending into the crowd, not the center of it, just part of it. And somehow, that felt like closure. Later that night, I sat in my hotel room, looking out at the city lights. I thought about how much time I'd wasted waiting for an apology, when what I really needed was distance, and how the world has a way of circling back, not to reopen wounds, but to show you they've healed. I don't believe in poetic justice anymore, but I do believe in stillness, and in the quiet dignity of not needing to be right, just at peace. Final update that it's been a little over 2 years since the night everything ended. The post, the email, the silence that followed. Life's simpler now. And for the first time in a long time, I like it that way. I'm still with the same company, but I've shifted roles, consulting work, mostly remote. The kind of job that rewards consistency more than charm. The kind that lets you finish at 5 p.m. and actually be done. Outside of work, I've built a different rhythm. Weekends are quiet. Hikes, cooking, coffee with friends who knew me before everything blew up. No one cares about optics. No one's taking candid photos to post later. It feels real. I've been dating someone for about 8 months now, Lena. She's a graphic designer. Low-key, witty, allergic to pretension. We met at a mutual friend's dinner party, the kind where no one asked what anyone did for a living until dessert. We clicked not because of similarities, but because neither of us was trying to sell anything. A few weeks ago, she asked about my engagement. Not nosy, just curious. So I told her. All of it. When I finished, she said quietly, "That must have hurt." It did, I said. But it taught me what peace feels like, by contrast. She didn't offer pity or advice. Just reached across the table and held my hand. And that, I think, was the exact opposite of everything that came before. Last weekend, I was scrolling through LinkedIn, purely for work, when I saw a familiar name in the suggested connections sidebar. Rachel Carter. Her profile headline read, Consultant, Speaker, Helping Professionals Rebuild After Public Mistakes. She was running small workshops now, not influencer coaching, but seminars about digital accountability and resilience. There was a photo of her speaking to a small group, a whiteboard behind her that said, "You can start again without starting over." She looked peaceful, not radiant, not curated, just at ease. And for the first time, seeing her name didn't make my chest tighten. It didn't make me replay anything. I just felt respect. I didn't click connect, didn't send a message, didn't screenshot it for friends. I simply closed the tab and went back to what I was doing, planning a weekend trip with Lena. Because whatever version of me she once knew no longer needed to be seen. That night, I told Lena about it, not because it bothered me, but because it didn't. She smiled and said, maybe she found her peace, too. I nodded. Maybe that's how it was always supposed to end. And she said something I've thought about ever since. Endings aren't punishment. They're boundaries. She's right. It wasn't karma. It wasn't revenge. It was just the natural distance between who I was and who I became. Sometimes, people online still send me that old screenshot. Finally dating above my tax bracket. It still floats around meme pages. I don't delete them anymore. I just smile. Because that line, once humiliating, now feels like a fossil. A remnant from a life I outgrew. If there's a lesson in all this, it's this. You don't get peace by proving someone wrong. You get it by no longer needing to. Some people find their closure in confrontation. Others find it in silence. I found mine in not caring who's watching anymore. And that, honestly, is the most expensive thing I've ever owned.